Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we'll be big box store plant shopping at the Lowe's off of Preston Road in Warren in Frisco, Texas. As always, please make sure you're hitting that like button and also following me on Instagram if you want to get in contact with me directly. And if you like 1 hour plant shopping videos daily, please subscribe to this channel with the notification bell on. So I have just come over to this Lowe's, which is another Lowe's I frequent right after work just to see what plants that they have. As you can see, it is late afternoon, early evening. I've been doing a lot of late afternoon, early evening plant shopping videos. And you can see we've got this raised bed kit right here. So you can actually buy some of those bricks and then some of those 2x4s or 3x4s to create a raised bed. And then as I walk over here, it looks like we have a bunch of fig trees available, as well as citrus trees, lemon trees. I haven't ever grown a fig tree. I've seen a lot of fig tree Instagrams, and I find this an interesting plant. I like the leaf shape. So obviously with the fig tree, you want to give it full sun. And I have not really a fan of fig tree fruit, but you know, some people are really into that. We also have some lemon trees there. That one also takes full sun. And you can see that a big box store like Lowe's always has vegetables and herbs. I've got a couple of pepper plants that I'm growing, and they're doing very well. Actually, some of them are ready to harvest. And you can see right over here, we've got a lot of outdoor plants. So for those that are looking for indoor tropical plants, I will feature them in this shopping video. But as always, I like to just show outdoor plants as well. It is early summer, and you can see right here, we've got some vinca flowers. So if you're looking for a plant or a flower that can take full sun and is also drought tolerant, vinca flowers are a great selection. I've grown them as a kid. We've grown them as in flower beds as well as just containers. I honestly think they do better though in the ground versus a container, because then you don't have to worry so much about the watering conditions. And then you can see right here, Oasis Plants is a plant nursery that sources a lot of these succulents. I am still learning a lot about succulents and cacti. So for those that are very much experts about the plant care and just have insights, please leave that in the comments. You already know I love engagement. I love comments in the comment section, so feel free to do that. And then over here, we've got a Croton Petra. This is the Summer Vibes collection by Lowe's. I've noticed that a lot of their Croton Petras specifically have a lot of yellow foliage at the top. I really like that a lot. It's got a bright color for a space in your landscape. They're considered more of the landscape tropical plants, although for my grow zone, which is 8B, you definitely can't grow those in the ground. I am based out in North Texas, and we get some very intense cold winters, so a tropical plant like a Croton will definitely not do well in the ground, but in a container outdoors it will do perfect. And in here are some more hanging baskets of vinca flowers. Again, vinca flowers come in so many different varieties and colors. I really love the vinca flowers, but specifically the pink ones like that one, as well as the white ones. And you can see they got a bunch of starter vinca plants here. It isn't too late to actually start a flower bed when it comes to vincas, because they are again heat tolerant and drought tolerant, which makes them a perfect flowering bed plant, especially if you are in the deep south or in areas that have very hot climates. Here we've got some zinnia flowers in a container as well. So zinnia typically are found more so. If you want to get zinnias, you would need to grow them from seed, but I love the fact that big box stores like Lowe's carries them now in containers. And then we have some more coleus mixed plant containers. These are by Proven Winners. This one is for $99.98. This is the Night Fever series, and you can see that they have just a care tips right here. This is a Royal Cherry Blaze or Royal Cherry Brandy coleus plant. And for those that haven't been following my videos for the last 2 months, I love coleus. I have grown a coleus obsession, and you know, at this point with me going on vacation next week, I have really slowed down in terms of buying plants. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with my plants for the next 18 days. I've started like a sprinkler system. I'm going to have somebody come over and water my plants, so hopefully they will do well. And that's the thing, plant foldies. And for those that are new to this channel, I call my viewers viewers and subscribers plant foldies. This was originally an origami ASMR channel. I love creating paper cranes. If you go to my my early videos, I literally have hundreds, maybe even thousands of videos of how to make a paper crane. So if you want to go learn how to make a paper crane and have a relaxing ASMR series, definitely check out my origami paper cranes. But that is the reason why I call my channel Grow Folds. The grow part is the plants, obviously, and the folds are for my origami creation. So that's why I call my plant subscribers, viewers, plant foldies. So for those that are new to this channel, welcome. And for those that are on the live premiere chats, thank you so much for continuously dropping by and watching my live premieres. I know the other night I premiered a video around like 9:05 Central Standard Time. Very late for me to premiere. I've had some technical difficulties in some of my plant shopping videos getting them uploaded, but I'm very thankful that you guys have really embraced just being consistent. I think it's for those that actually have my YouTube channel with the notification bell on. So hopefully you guys will continue to tune in. If you are watching this video for the first time during a live premiere, be sure to say hello. We are a friendly bunch. The plant foldies love to welcome new faces. And if you want somebody to chat with about plants and just really engage with other people who love plants, this is the YouTube channel for you, because again, I have videos that upload and premiere daily. So we passed by a bunch of these plants. You can see there's a bunch of mixed coleus planters. We've got this barrel here. Actually, Lowe's just put a bunch of plants in that barrel, so they kind of give you an example of how to make a mixed planter. And over here, we've got some beautiful Acer palmatum crimson queen. I love Japanese maples. For those that are actually Japanese maple lovers or grow Japanese maple in your gardens, please leave in the comments what Japanese maple you guys like. I typically buy my Japanese maples actually from two sources. One would be Metro Maples, which is a Japanese maple nursery located out in Fort Worth, Texas. Phenomenal nursery I've been shopping at for years, as well as MrMaple.com. They are a mail order Japanese maple nursery, and I love the Nichols brothers. I actually happened to meet Matt and Tim Nichols, who are the owners of the Mr. Maple website, and they are amazing people that are very knowledgeable of Japanese maple. So definitely check that out. You can see here, this is an Acer palmatum ukigumo. Now, ukigumo Japanese maple is actually one that will have very white, variegated leaves. It really depends on your climate, though. They typically do better in colder climates. You notice how this is mostly green, and that is because they revert to green when it gets a little bit hotter and even in the summertime. And then we've got a pygmy date palm. So palms, again, I would say this palm is probably one that's going to need to be growing outdoors. They need a lot of bright light, full sun for some areas. Just leave in the comments about the palm plant care. Again, I know that the Majesty palm is typically one that you will see being sold at a big box store. But these ones are the pygmy date palms. It looks like they have a bunch of these as well. But as you can see, going late afternoon plant shopping or even at night is easier for me, because I'm able to film a lot of video content, plant content, and there's not as many people walking around. I try to be respectful when it comes to like plant shopping videos, trying not to get people into the frames. So that's why you will see a lot of these late afternoon plant shopping videos, and also because I get off of work and that's part of my daily routine. Over here, we've got another mixed planter of coleus plants. This one is a proven winners one. This one is called the Wicked Hot Coleus with some canna lilies. That's a pretty interesting plant collection or plant mixture. And we're just going to walk over here and see what other plants they have available. For those that are into succulents and cacti, this one is an Oasis mix planter for $150. They've got a variety of different types of succulents. So they've got a nice succulent arrangement. That is a really cool succulent right there. It also has a Sansevieria or a snake plant right in the middle. That's a pretty cool arrangement. And I do like that they have a gunmetal type planter. You know, I am all about specific colors, specific textures for planters. Specifically, I like planters that are a little bit smoother, have matte finishes when it comes to glazes, a little bit more minimalistic planters. But, you know, to each their own. So for me, it's about just the plant aesthetic. I think that the planter also plays a big part in how you display your plant. So that's just a little bit of my plant insights for you guys. And then you can see right here, again, we have a bunch of Croton petras. I am curious to see how many people grow Crotons, if you're a fan of Crotons, or if this is just a plant that you may not be into. You know, a couple of critiques when it comes to Crotons is people don't really like them because they have very stark colors. Some people like more subtle colors. I like bright, colorful plants. That's why I like Aglaonema, Crotons, you name it. Anything that's colorful, like coleus plants, caladiums, I'm about that. I'm also about these orange hibiscus. I really love hibiscus as well. And you can see that these have a nice orange tone about them. The color is really nice. And, you know, when I think of hibiscus, I'm reminded of my home country, which is the Philippines. I am a proud Filipino right here. And, you know, hibiscus are called gomamela in the Philippines. These grow just wildly over in the Philippines. They really love tropical environments. Now, they do have another type of hibiscus plant here that are called hardy hibiscus, which are more of the native hibiscus that are located in the United States. Those are considered perennials. And when you think about perennial plants are plants that can be put into the landscape and can grow a full season. So summers, spring, summer, fall, and then they die off in the winter, and then they'll come back year after year in the spring or early summer. So I have thought about getting some perennial hardy hibiscus plants, but we'll see. And you can see I just panned over here a bunch of like Croton petras, and we're just going to walk around and see what other plants they have available. Got some beautiful cordyline Hawaiian tea plant available right over here next to some more shrubs right over here. And we're just going to walk over and see what other succulents that they have available at this Lowe's. For those that do big box store plant shopping, I am curious to see what big box store you typically like to buy plants from. I am really torn between all three big box stores I typically go to. It would be Lowe's, Home Depot, and Walmart. Although I have found that there are certain plants that you can find at a very cheap and inexpensive price whenever you go to grocery stores. And then also, I like going to local plant nurseries because I feel like local plant nurseries will always have more selection when it comes to plants. However, I will give big box stores credit in the fact that they have really stepped it up in terms of just the amount of plants that they have available. I mean, you can see right here, this is a Kalanchoe flapjack. Love this for Kalanchoe. And when you think of Kalanchoe, I have featured a lot of the flowering Kalanchoe, but you can see that there are so many different varieties. And I think that's the beauty of just growing plants, plant collecting, finding plants, is the diversity of plants that are just available for us to find. You know, I haven't really delved into succulents nearly as much as like philodendron, aglaonema, all of those other aroid plants, because you can see here, like for instance, this hedgehog aloe for $24.98. I didn't even realize that aloe vera plants, and I know it sounds very silly for me to even assume that they have so many different varieties of aloe vera plants. You know, when I think of aloe vera plants, I think of the typical one that is just smooth in its texture, but you can see that there is a lot of other aloe veras available right over here. You can see that we've got some really nice succulents here for $28.98. Really love the look of that as well. As far as succulent plants, the only care tips I would say about succulent plants is you want to make sure that they are in fast draining soil. Typically, you can pot them up in what they call the succulent cactus mix. I would add soil amendments like perlite, pumice, maybe a little bit of sand, although that's not really common, or at least I wouldn't really put that, but there's some people who've done that. Bonsai soil is really good as well, pre-made bonsai soil. I would recommend the Bonsai Supply bonsai soil that you can buy on Amazon. It's a really fast draining soil. Also giving succulents lots of light. I wouldn't necessarily say giving them full sun. I made the mistake of just putting, my Aeonium succulents in full sun, and they did not do well. Also, whenever you water succulents or cactus, you really don't want to water the top. So you don't want to take like a watering can and just water the top. It's better to water your succulents from the base where it doesn't even hit the foliage, just because I think if water sits on the actual succulent, it will rot. So just FYI on that, I would definitely recommend that. And then also just making sure that your succulents stay dry. You don't want to really overwater your succulents or cactus. So those are just a couple of things I wanted to put out there in terms of just plant care for succulents. Again, I am not a expert, but what I do know is succulents thrive better with a little bit more neglect, a little bit more light, not too much light, and then you'll also have so many varieties of succulents and cactus. It's easy to propagate a lot of succulents and cactus. You can literally take maybe a piece of the actual stem, cut it, stick it in soil, and just leave it alone, and it will grow. But you can see here, this is an interesting one. So if you notice that there's some damage on this aloe plant, and notice how it's already pushed out a bunch of new growth. It's really interesting how plants will promote new growth from like cuttings, or if something is damaged as far as the stem. Even in succulents, they will promote more branching when some of their leaves or some of their branches get cut off. And I find that very fascinating. I also find this owl planter fascinating. You can see that there is a mixed planter of plants, and then we've just got more succulents right over here. You can see right over here, we've got even more plants available. So we're just gonna keep walking around to see what we have available. This is a lamb's ear plant. I really love the look of this one as well. This is for $8.98. This is also what you call a perennial plant. So you really have to just make sure if something is labeled a perennial plant, look at your grow zone. Like for me, I am based out in North Dallas, so my grow zone is 8B. So I would just have to research whether a plant is a perennial or more so an annual for my specific grow zone. And that's the reason why I plant folies. I like to just show you guys all of these outdoor plants because I know that not everybody will be growing plants indoors. I love my tropical indoor plants, but I also love gardening and just having outdoor plants. Honestly, I find growing plants outdoors a lot easier to maintain than indoor plants. And the reason for it is, for instance, like these Japanese holly fern, you can just take a hose and water them. You can have a sprinkler system and irrigation system and water them. And I only refer to that because I struggle with the watering portion of my plants. I find that having to go through and water a bunch of plants, I would say I'm up to like 80 plants, is a tedious plant chore. But whenever you're growing plants in a landscape or outdoors, it's easy to take a hose and water them. On top of that, you can really control the amount of light you put in for your plants because there's just natural lighting. I think plants get better lighting obviously when they're grown outdoors. And then lastly, when it comes to plant pests, indoor plants typically don't have natural predators. You don't have like ladybugs. You don't have specific types of bugs that will get rid of plant pests versus outside where basically you have a bunch of natural plant pest predators. So that's the reason I find that like growing outdoor plants is a little bit easier than indoor plants. Leave it in the comments if you agree, disagree, what your insights are. What I will tell you is all of these plants that I picked up, like that ajuga, the dark ajuga plant that I picked up earlier, and these Asiatic jasmine plant, these are all ground covers, and I've actually been experimenting with growing ground covers in containers. I really want to see if that's going to work out for me in terms of being able to take them indoors. So here's the thing about growing plants indoors that are typically grown outdoors. You really have to be mindful about maybe the lighting conditions. Typically a plant that is grown outdoors may most likely need more light. And then on top of that, if you take a plant that likes to be outdoors, I guess the potential for plant pests are a little bit higher, specifically spider mites. You know, examples of plants that like to be outdoors most so would be your Hydra helix, or what you call the Hedera helix or English ivy. And again, for those that are watching my video for the first time, I always mispronounce how to say Hedera helix to Hydra helix, just because when I started doing this plant shopping video journey a couple months back, I was mispronouncing it, and then it just kind of caught on. And all of our plant folies, it's an inside joke. I don't know why you guys like to count how many times I say Hydra helix, but I will continue to do that. But anyways, so like English ivy would be easy plants to grow outdoors because they just for some reason thrive outdoors. But when you bring them indoors, they typically get spider mites. Same thing with cordyline tea plants and a couple of other plants. So that's really interesting that, you know, outdoor plants transferred into indoor house plants. There is a bit of a transition, a challenge, and also just a little bit extra precaution when it comes to plant pests and plant care. I mean, you can see right over here too, we've got a bunch of proven winner caladiums. I really love the pink proven winner caladiums. This one is for $6.98. This is a splash of wine. It does look like some red wine was splashed on the leaves. I really love this caladium. I almost went into a rabbit hole by collecting a bunch of caladiums. I do have a couple of varieties of caladiums. I think I have like 5 of them, and I bought them at a local plant nursery called Callaways. So definitely check out my Callaways plant shopping videos. Here is an alternanthera plant. I love the different types of alternanthera plant. They have the dark pink ones, purple ones. We've got some green neon ones like this. Again, this is another plant that I am growing in a container in the hopes of possibly bringing it indoors as an indoor tropical plant. So we'll see how that works out. This is a plant, again, potato vine, that I love, the dark foliage plant. I love dark foliage plants, but the only problem with dark foliage plants is, you know, with this potato vine is when you grow this indoors, it is so spider mite prone that you just really can't grow those indoors. So that is another example of a plant that if you want to grow indoors, it's going to take a little bit more care. I mean, some plants are just really meant to stay outdoors. Now, caladiums, it is a debate. We'll see what that looks like. But as far as caladiums, people will grow them indoors. Now, these caladiums will go dormant in the winter, especially when the days get shorter and there's less light. If it gets colder, that's when they will go in dormancy. But you can actually collect the bulbs and then replant them in a pot, and they will grow back in the late spring, early summer. You know, caladium bulbs typically will not start to sprout until the soil or the temperatures are a little bit warmer. I love caladiums though. I always say caladiums are the more colorful version of, say, an alocasia plant. I love them. Some people find them a little bit jarring. Again, the colors are a little too much, but I love those flamboyant, flashy plants. Now, this one again is another alternanthera. This one is for $4.98. So I have been buying these types of plants, these like outdoor ground covers or outdoor flower bed plants, just to see if I can grow them. You know, examples would be like that alternanthera. There are some potato vines right over here. You can see that that's a medium green color. I love their arrangement from neon green to dark green. So we've got some potato vine right over there in the middle, and then we have some, I've never seen this before, just a really green version of a coleus plant. This one is only for $4.98. It doesn't even really look like a coleus plant, but you can see that it is. I do love the undersides of this specific coleus plant. It's got some really nice veining here, really nice look on that. So we're gonna see what that looks like in terms of the coleus plant. And you can see it is more of a darker foliage plant right there. And then over here, we've got the middle side. That is a really nice plant as well. That is a potato vine. And then right over here again is another neon yellow green color. That is an alternanthera. And then we have some more caladiums, and you can see these caladiums are for $7.98. Now with caladiums, I would recommend putting them in fast draining soil, because if you put them in soil that keeps a lot of moisture, it could potentially rot the bulbs. These are bulbous plants, and so if the bulbs rot, then the plant dies. So just make sure you give it fast draining soil. Also, it needs to be in shade or partial shade, partial sun. So 3 to 6 hours of sun is all it needs. You can see right over here, this is another Coleus plant, I actually have this particular coleus plant for $4.98. Now, I love coleus in the fact that they're fast growing, they're easy to propagate. You can literally take just a small piece of cutting and stick it in direct soil. A week later, it should root and you have another free plant. So that's ways of multiplying your plant collection without having to break the bank. I am all about plant shopping budgets and just really finding ways to find cost-effective ways to like grow your plant collection. You know, I recommend, you know, maybe joining a Facebook group, or, you know, speaking of Facebook group, I am working on doing a Grow Folds Facebook group. So that way we can interact with each other and create more, you know, plant, interactions, and possibly even connect other plant foldies that are not local plant foldies in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I know that there are a lot of Canadian plant foldies, a lot of viewers in Canada. Shout out to my Canadian plant foldies. You know who you guys are. You guys are amazing. Thank you for always tuning in. And then just some of these international plant foldies. I've seen some people watching from the United Kingdom, Puerto Rico, Trinidad and Tobago, just lots of places that I would never really expect. So a Facebook group is going to be in the works. But again, when you join Facebook plant groups, you can like find people that are willing to sell plants at a more discounted price, or you can even like, do plant trades or even share plant cuttings. I know that I've met up with a couple of local plant foldies. Some of you guys, like my plant foldie friend, Gloria, thank you again for some of the free plants you've given me. You know, I have been doing plant collab videos with Janae Simone. She has an amazing YouTube channel, so definitely check it out. And obviously, Steven of I Lift Plants, that's another YouTube channel that I would recommend checking out. But creating a community with plant lovers is another way to where you can acquire plants at a more discounted price or even free plants. So I'm going to get off of that rant there. And the thing about it is, with my plant shopping videos, it's kind of evolved in more of I'm giving you my plant commentary while showing you plants as I walk through the aisles. I want you to imagine kind of just taking a trip with me to a big box store, and I'm literally just talking your ear away. So you can see here, we've got a bunch of succulents and cactus again. I've just panned over here because it's really interesting that Lowe's, Home Depot, and even Walmart have a lot of succulents and cactus available. Typically, it's element plants, smart plants, and oasis plants that have succulents available. Now, my favorite succulents would be like that Crusala, obliqua tricolor, any Crusala or jade plant, as well as Aeoniums. Now, Aeoniums grow so well, and actually succulents grow well in landscapes out in California. I remember just being really inspired to see people growing succulents in the ground, in full sun, outdoors in California. So I don't know the California grow zone, so somebody will have to let me know, but that would be just a very suitable area to grow your succulents. But as you can see here, we've got a bunch of like Dracaena, and I think that Dracaena is so underrated. We've got Diefenbachia right here. Now, Diefenbachia, again, is a challenging plant. I would not recommend it for a beginner. It is easy to acquire, though. You can see Diefenbachia being available at any big box store, and that's the thing about plants. If you find a plant at a big box store, typically it is considered more so a common plant or an indoor house plant. But again, it is one of those plants that with Diefenbachia that makes them just more challenging is because they require a lot of bright light. They're a little bit more spider mite prone or pest prone. They can get leggy when they don't get that enough light. And then also just the watering, you have to stay on top of the watering as well. Not to try to talk people out of Diefenbachia, I just want to give my personal insights. You might just be a better plant parent than me. Maybe some of my plant care isn't at the best. I honestly need to listen to some of my plant commentary and plant tips, because I'm the worst at watering my plants. Like, I almost killed my variegated Fatshadera. So like that's another plant that I'm just like, okay, the leaves are drooping. I pass by it. It's in my living room. I need to go water it. So just little things like that. And you can see right here, coleus wicked hot. That's another proven winners hybrid. And that one would actually be able to take full sun. You can see that it's mixed with some canna lilies. So all of these outdoor plants, again, Lowe's does a phenomenal job when it comes to like just outdoor plants. The amount of plants that they always have available for us to like buy and consume and share and grow, it's amazing. And if you've made it this far into the video, please make sure you are hitting that like button. And if you want to just continue to leave comments as you watch my videos, would really appreciate it. I know that a lot of my plant foldies during the live premiere chats will encourage people to hit the like button. Again, the reason why I ask that you hit the like button is because number one, it validates that I'm actually doing a pretty decent job when it comes to making plant content. Then number two, it just really shows that this channel has some engagement and I want it to continue to grow. I'm really hoping that we can get to 10,000 subscribers soon. So we'll see what that looks like, but please hit the like button if you like what you've seen so far. And now we're going to go ahead and walk into the indoor tropical section. So for those that love indoor plants, this is your time to shine. This is your time to look at some plants. So we can see right over here, we've got some live trend shippers or, places where they have a little end cap. You can see that Live Trends has beautiful planters. Like, look at how interesting this one is. You can see that it is got a nice little face on it. And these are haworthias. Haworthias are also succulents, but haworthias, unlike most succulents, can tolerate lower light conditions. I find that super interesting. Over here we have some more Live Trends hydroponic plants. This one for $18.96. So this is just a cutting of a ZZ plant. If I'm gonna be honest, I think that $18.96 for a ZZ plant cutting in a really fancy looking hydroponic glass vase is a little overpriced. I wouldn't really recommend buying it, but for some people, maybe you really want that modern touch, and it is a beautiful vase for a water propagation. But for me, I think it's a little bit more expensive. I will give it a credit to Live Trends though. I would say Live Trends probably has the most beautiful planters and just the plant setups, their hanging baskets, their ceramic planters, their hydroponic situations right here. I love that as well. Like, take a look at that. This one is a Dracaena plant, and this one you could just put in like an office space or just maybe a desk, maybe next to a nightstand, and really just enjoy what that looks like. I really like the look of that plant as well. And then you can see right over here, we've got a philodendron brantianum. This one is in a self-watering planter. So Live Trends has really gotten on the bandwagon when it comes to like self-watering planters. I really like the look of that as well. You can see that it's got some beautiful silver foliage. Now I've seen philodendron brantianum grow up a totem pole, and when I say that, it is just magnificent how large the leaves get. It is a sight to behold. And if you really want to see that, I have another local plant nursery video featuring Plant Keeper in downtown Dallas. You will see huge philodendrons and philodendron brantianum when it's grown up a totem pole. So I hope you guys can check that out as well. And then over here, we've got some jade pothos or Epipremnum aureum jade pothos. Gotta love your Epipremnum aureum jade pothos in a sense that it is a common plant. It is an easy to care for plant. It is a plant that I think most people will start their plant journey with. And you can see that there's just a lot of plants for Live Trends, a lot of different little arrangements. Look at how cute this one is. I might actually just collect more Live Trends plants. Like, look at that. That is such a cute little planter. It doesn't necessarily fit my plant aesthetic in terms of planters. I really like more just very simple, very just modern looking planters. Although I will say Live Trends does have a modern vibe about it, like even their glazes and just how they have matte finishes. It's really nice. Now this particular Sansevieria, or these Sansevieria that I'm about to pick up, are a variety of Sansevieria that are not Sansevieria trifasciata. Sansevieria trifasciata are more of those typical snake plants. These ones have more, I guess, meat on them. They're a little bit thicker. They look more like succulents right here. Don't know if this is a Sansevieria fernwood. It doesn't look like it. So that's the thing about Sansevierias. I'm not 100% sure on all of the plant IDs. What I will say is all three Sansevieria that I picked up are probably the easiest Sansevieria you can grow alongside the Sansevieria starfish. They can really tolerate neglect. Like you can literally not water them for about a month or two and they will do fine. And then over here, we've got some more Haworthia. As you can see, this is a beautiful Haworthia right over here. Again, this is a succulent plant, but apparently this succulent plant, let's see how much this costs right there. That's not a bad price at all. $14.98 is one that can tolerate lower light conditions. So I find that quite interesting, which makes it a little bit easier to take care of. And then over here, we've got a Ficus Audrey in a self-watering planter. This one's for $18.98. Again, this is another beautiful ficus plant. It is not a ficus rubber tree plant. It is in a different species of ficus. That one does need a lot of bright light as well. And then over here, we've got some more live trend plants. They do come in many different pricings. So like you just want to make sure that it's within your budget. I will say this is a beautiful ceramic planter here. Look at that. And this is also in a self-watering planter. Calatheas definitely will benefit from self-watering planters. I always find calatheas to be one of those more challenging plants because they need a little bit more humidity. Their soil definitely does not want to dry out. The water quality, you don't really want to water calatheas from tap water. Now this is another beautiful plant as well. I love that marantha, the green marantha, but I did want to just walk around here and kind of see what other plants they have available in the main section. So you can see here, we're just going to pan over and I'm going to give you just a view of how full this Lowe's typically has with their indoor plants. That they've just got a lot of plants, and then I want to show you the Better Grow Orchid fertilizer. I haven't ever used really fertilizer for my orchids, which reminds me today after I'm done doing this voiceover, I am going to water my variegated Phalaenopsis orchid. Whenever you go to a big box store, you will find different types of orchids. You can see that they've got Miracle Grow plant spikes. I've never used that. I always like using Miracle Grow fertilizer products, so I really find that they are easy to use and they don't really burn my plants or anything like that. They're very gentle to the plants if you follow the instructions, and I have gotten some really good results as far as using Miracle Grow fertilizer. So as far as that, you know, plant foldies, let me know what fertilizer you use for your plants. Like what do you typically use? Do you use Miracle Grow? Do you use slow release fertilizer? I'd really like to know, because again, I like to learn from everybody who does watch my plant shopping videos. But you can see here, this Lowe's, I just love it. I love this Lowe's in the fact that their plants are very much healthy. They're very much full. I love that they've merchandised it well. I will give probably Lowe's of the three big box stores more consistency as compared to the other big box stores. Granted, you know, sometimes not all big box stores are created equal. There's a little bit more care at certain ones, but you can see even here, I love Epipremnum aureum Enjoy. Now this is the Enjoy Pothos. Notice that it doesn't really have speckling. It's got more contrast in the leaves. This is another Live Trends planter, and I love the fact that they have these leather strings to hold the plant up. Really nice look about it, definitely very modern, and even the texture on the planter isn't, I don't have a problem with it. There's just some little subtlety in it, and then I also love the color. That golden yellow color is a really nice modern touch. I also like the red one right over here. So this one is an Epipremnum aureum Golden Pothos. You can see here what a modern looking planter. So I would love to just do hanging baskets. I just really need to learn more about them in terms of just the care. I find that growing hanging basket plants can be a little bit challenging because I am just challenged when it comes to just watering my plants. I forget about them. And then you can see here, we've got another beautiful golden pothos planter right there, but you can see that they have many different planters. Now these ones are also by Urban Jungle. So Urban Jungle does some great hanging baskets as well. This one is I would say this is more of a jade pothos. It's got a predominantly green foliage. This one is only for $14.94. Not a bad price at all, considering you've got a high quality ceramic planter, you've got a nice looking plant, an easy to care for plant. You know, when it comes to seasons of when you want to buy plants, I would say early spring, summer is when you want to just really ramp up your plant collection, just because there's so many varieties of plants that you can find at a big box store. And then over here, again, these are for the $18.96. These are the Live Trends water propagations, or, you know, hydroponic plants. They don't really have a lot of established roots. Actually, I don't really see any roots on this ZZ plant. I do see that this anthurium, this flowering anthurium, does have some roots. I do love hydroponic plants, or plants that are just grown straight in water. I have converted a lot of my aglaonema in bowls of water, as well as my Dracaena, as well as just other plants that I feel like are going to be easier to grow in water, specifically calatheas as well. Like calatheas, those plants that just need to be watered often, I have just converted in hydroponics, and they have done extremely well. And then over here, we've got some more plants. This one is a ZZ Zenzi plant. So this is more of the compact ZZ plant right here. I really like the look of this plant as well. Notice how it's got more of a compact variety of a ZZ plant. This is a plant that I definitely want to add to my collection, because I do like ZZ plants. They're very easy to grow. I didn't realize how easy to grow they were. I have 3 different types of ZZ plants in my collection. I've got a Raven ZZ, I've got a ZZ Chameleon, and I just have a typical green ZZ plant. So I've got to add me a ZZ Zenzi plant. I think that would be a really nice plant. And then we've got a Pachira aquatica right over here. This is also by Live Trends. Gotta love all of these plants. Again, they just do such a good job when it comes to their planters. And then over here, we've got a bunch of air plants here. I don't really know a lot about air plants, so you'll have to just really give me some insights. And then you can see over here again, more Sansevieria plants right here. These ones are for $12.98. I do like the planter it's in. I'm just not a fan of the top dressing of that artificial moss. I just feel like having artificial moss on top of the surface of the soil will just retain more of the soil moisture, which could potentially give it root rot. So plant folies, let me know if you agree. Unless you like those tops, you know, moss. I prefer it just to have no top dressing. I get that they want to make it a little bit nicer looking, but I even think that the color of the artificial moss looks just too unnatural for such a beautiful plant. Like, look at this beautiful Syngonium, Neon Robusta, for instance, right here. I just feel like they could have skipped out on the artificial moss, but that's just my personal opinion. Again, when it comes to like plant aesthetics, or what we're about in terms of what plants we want to grow in our collections, everybody has a different opinion, and that is okay. But for me personally, I'm not really a fan of the top dressing. But you can see here, this is another beautiful Live Trends hanging basket. This is a red Marantha. It looks a little bit beat up, but you know, needless to say, just a little tender love and care will rejuvenate this plant. I would recommend growing, you know, Maranthas over maybe Calatheas. They're less finicky. Also, Thenanthe plants are less finicky than Calatheas. Over here, we've got another beautiful golden pothos, or Epipremnum aureum golden pothos. Another Live Trends release right here. Nice modern looking hanging basket planter. You know, golden pothos, it is a common plant. I've seen a lot of like modern restaurants and places that really have indoor plants, you know, doing plant walls with golden pothos, and when they start trailing, they really look amazing. And then here's another favorite of mine. This is a Marble Queen pothos, or Epipremnum aureum Marble Queen. Again, Marble Queen is another beautiful plant that I love because it has that cream white variegation. Now this one has a little bit more green variegation, or green on it, than cream. With Marble Queen pothos, it is really influenced by light, the amount of variegation you give it. So if you give it a lot of bright light, it will get more variegation to the point where you can even get a snow queen pothos where it's almost just a white pothos plant. It is an amazing looking pothos. And then over here, we've got another calathea plant again. I love this like very nice modern shape, very simple planter. I even like that orange color of it. I love the purple undersides of this calathea. So plant foldies, I mean, let me know what you think about some of these plants. Have you guys really enjoyed all of the Lowe's plants? I have been trying my very best to do plant shopping videos so I can at least have something to premiere for you guys on a daily basis. Again, I will be flying out to the Philippines next week and I'm super excited. It is going to be a very long flight to get there. It's literally going to take a day. It's an 18-hour flight to Korea and I believe it's another 3-hour flight from Seoul to Manila, Philippines. But I am so excited to show you guys a lot of the Philippine plants, a lot of the plants that you'll see at plant shops in the Philippines. So I will be doing international plant shopping videos. So if you're into that, please make sure you are subscribed to my channel with the notification bell on. If you are a longtime subscriber or a longtime viewer, at this point, please double check if you are #1 subscribed, because there were a couple of plant foldies that watch my videos daily but weren't subscribed. And #2, check if the notification bell is on. You will always be reminded when I have like a live premiere that may be off cycle or when I provide a shorts video, because I have been uploading some shorts videos, some more shorter content. I know that a lot of my plant shopping videos are longer content. I prefer that because I like to talk. I love to talk about plants. I love to chat with you guys. And I feel like a longer video provides more engagement opportunities for us to talk about plants. But you can see right here, like these are just amazing little planters. These are more hydroponic planters. Now this one is called a Sansevieria samurai. It is more of a sharp snake plant. As it gets a little bit larger, the points get a little bit more of a needle. So you just have to be careful with that. Very slow growing compact plant. When you touch it, it is almost as hard as a rock. So it is quite interesting that, you know, that is a Sansevieria. And then you can see over here, lots of Phalaenopsis orchids. Again, Phalaenopsis orchids are fabulous. I love the look of Phalaenopsis orchids. I think that, you know, they just have so many different faces on their blooms. There's so many varieties and it's just fun to look at. These ones are for $20.84 by Costa Farms. And again, I would say Costa Farms is the king of just providing so many different exotic houseplants, easy to care for plants, plants that are a little bit more uncommon or rare for the typical consumer or plant lover like ourselves. I would go out on a venture to say that I am not one of those people that just collects rare plants. I just like plants for what they are. You know, I really like common plants. I like plants that are just easy to care for. Sometimes those rare or uncommon plants or plants that are just hundreds of dollars, it really is all about just the hype about them. You know, there's some variegated monstera, for instance, that I would love to get a hold of, but they're several $100s. And at this point, I want to refrain from paying for that price for now, just because theoretically plants like these, like this flame violet, for instance, they reduce their plant pricing. So the demand for these rare plants, as they become more readily available, as tissue culture becomes even more accessible, plants are able to make it into the market. And that's why, like, I like to do plant shopping videos where I update you guys on plants. Like, for instance, if you go to a grocery store like H-E-B, I've been able to find a variegated Florida Beauty. I've been able to find a philodendron strawberry shake, a philodendron variegated domesticanum, monstera Thai constellations. All of 4 of those plants I just mentioned are plants that used to be hundreds of dollars, and now they're within reason on what you want to pay for in terms of that. So just a little bit of insight on that. I do think that if you have enough patience to wait for the plant pricing to go down, just give it about a year or 2 and these plant pricing will go down. It's just, it's proven. There is a graph and a trend that shows plant pricing reducing from 2020, especially in like 2022 when plants were just a lot cheaper, and they've gotten even a lot cheaper now. I did want to show you these planters. So if you notice that a lot of the exotic angel planters or plants that are offered at Lowe's have a little wick. So basically they have wick and grow planters where it's like self-watering planters. You put water at the very base, and if you see the little string, the string pulls up the water and waters the plant. I need more of those just because, again, I don't really water my plants. And then here is our favorite. Again, this is our Hydra Helix. Gotta love that Hydra Helix or Hedera Helix English Ivy. This is the infamous Hydra Helix. Love that. That one is the asterisk English Ivy. You know, I think I'm just going to grow ivy outdoors. Like, I've kind of given up growing them indoors. But, you know, when winter comes, what happens when I have to bring them indoors? That is the question of the season. So we'll see. I failed my Hydra Helix challenge. Now, I know one of my best friends, Isaac, who has a YouTube channel called Hi JR Sings. He has been able to grow in English ivy for about 2.5 months with little care and more neglect, and he hasn't gotten spider mites. He just leaves it in a corner of his house that gets a lot of light, and that's about it. So I don't know if it's just that plant doesn't like me, if there's something in the air in my home. It's just interesting. So I'm just curious, plant foldies, if you've gotten this far, can you let me know what plants you are struggling with, what plants you'd love to grow but just haven't had the success? I'd like to know, and then I want to see if I'm in the same boat as you when it comes to English ivy. Croton plants too. Like, I love this Croton gold dust. It is a common croton. You know, crotons are common in general, but just because a plant is common doesn't mean it's an easy to care for plant. I want to be able to grow more croton. My grandmother, who basically is the reason why I have gotten into plants to begin with, grows crotons like it's like weeds. Like, they're so easy for her. Now, she does grow them outside, so I figure that maybe growing my plants outside is probably the best venue when it comes to plants I'm struggling with. Like this one is, look at this beautiful anthurium right over here, flowering anthurium. This one's got dark blooms. Again, with dark foliage plants, they are amazing in a sense that they're just easy to look at. I think that they're very elegant. They have a sense of mystery. There's just a lot going on when it comes to that plant. So really like the look of that as well. And then we also have some hanging baskets right here. We've got a Fittonia plant. This one is a beautiful one as well. I don't really have Fittonias because Fittonias need to be watered more often. They like their soil to stay a little bit more moist. I used to be an overwaterer or somebody that just waters their plants all the time. I think it kind of evolved when I got a job that just really was super demanding. You know, I've worked for my current job for more than a decade now. I'm hoping to retire with them soon. Give me another 8 to 10 years and I'll be able to do like plant shopping videos full time. Unless this YouTube channel actually takes off. And, you know, I feel like with all of your viewership that you guys constantly give me and the support, perhaps it may take off. You know, if you made it this far, like I said, again, please hit that like button. It really does help with my videos out, and just leaving comments. And you can see here, beautiful spider plant. The thing about it is this is for $6.98. I do like spider plants in a sense that they're easy to propagate as well. Once they start to get mature, they start to shoot a lot of these babies out, and I really like the look of that. And then right over here, we've got another plant that likes to shoot babies out. Those are the strawberry begonia. Really like the look of the strawberry begonia as well. Nice looking plant. I have the variegated strawberry begonia. It's another plant that I feel like I need to grow more of. But again, with my vacation coming around the corner, I'm so excited. I've literally planned my vacation to the Philippines about a year ago. So excited that the day is finally going to happen. I'm hoping that the weather is going to be good when I go to the Philippines. So please send some positive vibes. I hope that that's the case. And I'll be able to see a lot of plants there. But, you know, as I'm doing these last minute plant shopping videos and trying to get all of my plant compilations, I am refraining from buying plants. Like, I almost bought this syngonium here. Like, this syngonium is amazing. Look at that. That has more smaller foliage for the Syngonium. It's got more of a miniature variety. Now this one is for $16.98. I may end up going back and buying this honestly because it has a unique foliage on it. I like that this is a little bit more of a miniature Syngonium. It's more compact. It's got a nice green on green variegation. What a beautiful plant, actually. Like, I was surprised I didn't pick this up to buy it, but I have added so many plants to my plant collection. I don't know if you're ever in that boat. I have kind of made a catch-20, you know, like it's like a little rabbit hole. Like, I love showing you guys plant shopping videos. I love creating these content, but you can see over here, like, I even want to buy this Syngonium right here because look at how full and compact the leaves are. But it does come with a literal cost, as in I end up spending money. I think last week I probably bought one plant each and every day, and that really adds up. So again, plant foldies, do you ever find yourself in a situation where you're looking at beautiful plants like this Epipremnum aureum, pearls and jade pothos, and you find yourself just wanting to buy everything? I want to buy everything, I want to grow everything, but then I realized that sometimes downsizing your plant collection is actually best. I've seen a lot of people who have done YouTube over the years, and I've noticed a trend where they'll grow a bunch of plants. I'm in the same boat. And then when they start downsizing, they find that it's a little bit more less stressful. It's more satisfying. So I'm probably going to end up doing that. I'm going to really reassess what my plant collection is going to look like when I come back from the Philippines. I may add more, but there's just some plants that I think when they start to not do well, I get, how do I say this? I get discouraged and I just totally give up. So like if a plant ends up getting a pest, rather than to just treat it, I just look at it and I get frustrated and then I give up. So it's just getting over that hump of just like making sure that I do stay on top of like the plant pest, the plant pest control. I'm pretty sure everybody has been in that same boat too, where like you get a plant infestation and it's just really discouraging. Now over here, you can see, as I was talking about, some plant insights, you can see that this is a Syngonium white butterfly. This one is also for $16.98. That was one of my first house plants I've ever grown as a kid. We actually grew that in a bathroom with no light, and for some reason it still did well. And then you can see there's a bunch of urban jungle plants. This one is for $23.98. That's a little bit pricey for this Alocasia. I believe this is an Alocasia Lowe rider. Please leave in the comments if that is the correct plant ID. If it is not, please feel free to correct me. I never claim to be an expert on plants. I will say though that you guys have validated in a positive way that I have some pretty good plant insights. So thank you for that. And then over here, we got another green Marantha. So green Marantha, look at that. This is another beautiful urban jungle plant. Actually, I may end up adding another Marantha to my collection. Like I do have the silver band Marantha. We've got this beautiful plant here, right here. That is a silver band Marantha again. This is by Urban Jungles. This is for $14.98. There's just a little bit of crisping on the new leaf that unfurled. It's probably because it didn't get enough humidity or water. But this is still a plant that is a little bit more forgiving than, say, a Calathea plant. So definitely take a look at that. That is a uncommon or even considered rare plant in some areas of the world. Canada didn't, for some reason, at least from what I've read and seen from other Canadian YouTubers, that silver band Marantha was a little bit more uncommon. And then you can see here, this is actually a nice looking philodendron Birkin. And why I like it is because the leaves got a nice, it's got a nice balanced variegation. I've seen some philodendron Birkin where like their leaves are almost extremely white. And while we gravitate to some highly variegated plant, sometimes high variegation on a plant is not sustainable for the plant because the plant can't really photosynthesize. It's a little bit weaker of a plant. It's more prone to like crisping up and not really getting any good growth. So there's a balance, and I did think that philodendron Birkin had a nice balance. That Anthurium I just picked up is really cool as well. And then another neon plant. I love neon plants. This is a philodendron Moonlight. I have yet to get one of these. I used to have them, but again, neon plants, dark foliage plants, pink plants. That is a GrowFold staple when it comes to me growing plants in my plant collection. Plant foldies, I do want to see what plants you guys are really into, like what colors of plants. I really want to get to know more of you guys. So if you haven't added me on Instagram, or if please add me, message me on Instagram. I've got a couple of chats coming up, going alongside with you. Alfred from Canada, thank you for always sharing your videos of your plants, pictures of plant finds. Really appreciate that. And then just anybody who wants to just talk about plants outside of the plant chat during my live premieres, please message me on Instagram. I also want to say thank you to Sansi Lights. They reached out to me about me possibly reviewing their products. So I'm super excited. I currently use Sansi Lights, and what I can tell you about Sansi grow lights is they are phenomenal. They work very well for me, easily accessible, and they are very cost effective. So I'm really excited that Sansi Grow Lights reached out to me via Instagram. And so for anybody that's interested in possibly like being somebody that wants me to promote their products, or just wants a sponsorship or wants to sponsor me, I am totally open for that as well. You can see here, though, I have really just panned over a lot of these different plants. This is an Aglaonema white margin, and I'm glad that Aglaonema white margin has made it back into the big box stores. I have one. I had to get one as soon as I saw it at this specific Lowe's, and I'm glad they have that restock. I love the white stems on the Aglaonema, and then, you will always see a Ficus elastica ruby whenever I do plant shopping videos, and then all of these bromeliads as well. So we're just going to look at some more plants over here. This is another beautiful Scindapsus trubii moonlight. Really love the look of this plant as well. Now with Scindapsus trubii moonlight, slow growing plant, needs more bright indirect light for it to really have that silver foliage. And then we've got some type of calathea right over here in a self-watering planter. Now this one is for $15.98. Again, calatheas, they're so readily available, but they're so readily to die on you as well. They're just so hard to take care of. I can't really think of any plant lover that hasn't killed a calathea. And then this is an Epipremnum alplicimum or silver streak pothos for $19.98. Thank you to Gloria, my plant foley that I met in person, for getting me a silver strike pothos. Really like that. And then we have a bunch of these Alocasia Jacqueline. So excited to see Alocasia Jacqueline again. This is in a self-watering planter for $1984. I think that's how much it costs for this Costa Farm self-watering planter. This is another trending tropicals Alocasia. It is back in the market. I remember buying one of these, but unfortunately mine didn't do well. It is a little bit more of a fragile plant, but I mean, take a look at this. Look at the stems, and then just look at the leaves. It's got a velvety texture. It's got some yellowing, and sometimes that yellowing can be mistaken as a plant disease, but apparently that's what some of the Alocasia is supposed to look like. But you can see here, this new leaf that is unfurled has more of a lighter green color. What a cool looking Alocasia. And then as I pan over here, we've got a couple more plants that I wanted to show you. We've got some Epipremnum aureum lemon meringue pothos. Again, this is another pothos plant that has light as the factor that will actually determine whether it has some really good yellow variegation. You can see that it doesn't have as best variegation for a lemon meringue pothos. Needless to say, it's still a beautiful plant. Slower growing pothos plant though when you compare it to the golden pothos or jade pothos. This one has a little bit more better variegation. Notice how it's got more yellow variegation, and again, it's because it's been given a little bit more light. So if you want to grow something like this indoors, put it in a south-facing window or put a grow light on top of it, and you shouldn't have any issues getting some of that to come out. But I'll pan around here again. You can see right over here, we've got an Epipremnum aureum marble queen pothos. I almost wanted to call it a snow queen. It could be a snow queen. They're really tough to look, but this one is highly variegated. And in order for us to really keep that high variegation, it needs a lot of bright light in order for it to really grow that well. And then you can see over here, we just got a bunch of exotic angel plants. This one is a Fittonia. There's a couple of plants that aren't doing so well though. So that's the unfortunate part about some of these plants. If they don't get a home soon, they will decline in health. This one is another creeping variegated ficus plant. Really nice texture. I like how it's got like some wrinkly leaves. And then we've got a spider plant, Bonnie. So this is the curly spider plant right here. Really cute how it's just got like curly ribbons around it. I find that interesting as well. And then this is another plant that will shoot out a lot of babies and you can grow them. Now with spider plants, you might want to just water them with like distilled or purified water. Sometimes the leaves or the edges of the leaves will brown up, and I think it's because of the hard water. This is a plant though that I believe is pet friendly. So that is another plant that you can have around if you have some pets. And then we have just more plants. This is another Hydra Helix. This one is another English ivy. This is the wonderful ivy right here. It's doing okay. I feel like it's starting to decline in its health. You know, with English ivy, they start to like get like dry leaves. They start to lose their leaves that are closer to the soil and they become leggy, and then it is the end. This one looks like it's also not doing as well. Those are all for $5.98, but I really feel like those need to be clearanced out and potentially rescued by somebody. I'm going to walk around here again and just show you some more of these plants. Notice how we've got those philodendrons orchids. I'm going to pan away again and just show you all of the beautiful plants and how full this area is. So plant foliage, you can see that this big box store called Lowe's off of Preston Road in Frisco, Texas, remains to be full, has really cheap, inexpensive plants, has a good variety of plants. I really commend that the staff maintains it. I just love looking at all of this greenery. It is absolutely beautiful. And, you know, when I get back from the Philippines, I'm going to see whether I'm going to add more plants, decrease my plant size, do a houseplant tour. That is all in the works, but I really hope you guys will tune into all of my marathons and plant compilation videos. You'll notice that I am uploading and scheduling them out. Put the notification bell on for those compilation videos. Most of them will start at 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, maybe 6 p.m. because they're a little bit longer videos. But anyways, plant foldies, please hit that like button if you made it this far, and thank you so much for making it this far. I really hope you guys will leave a lot of comments for my plant shopping video today. I will have another plant shopping video tomorrow, a brand new one, hopefully for a local plant nursery. We'll see. And as always, this is Richie at Grow Folds. I enjoyed showing you plants, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.